Good evening and welcome to Permart Field here at Bernlohr Stadium and to the site of a OAC semifinal matchup between John Carroll and Capital. This will be a fun one tonight. Jimmy Bloomfield joining you here. Well, we had probably the game of the year on Saturday. A win, or a tie that felt like a win in the last 20 seconds of the game. A corner kick from Madeline Woodruff finds Sophia Leonetti. And after some bouncing around in the box, Leonetti puts it into the back of the net. Got a good voice crack from me, and the excitement in that second half. We haven't seen Capital play with that kind of urgency in a long time. It was a special moment for the team as they captured their first OAC championship in the regular season since 2015. Trying to replicate that in the result tonight against John Carroll is the first step. There's another big game going on between Ohio Northern and Otterbein tonight in the other semifinal. And the two teams that win tonight will face off on Saturday for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, a place where Capital hasn't been since Coach Ogden's first year here at Capital back in 2015. In recent years, John Carroll and Capital, the battle has gone our way. Since 2021, including the COVID 2021 spring season and the fall 21 season, and this obviously part of 2022 that we've already played, that's 4 straight matchups that Capital has won against John Carroll. One of those came in the OAC tournament in the spring of 21, and they won the game in the regular season in the spring of 21. They won the actual OAC tournament game in the spring of 21. They won the fall 21 game and then the fall 22 game. That's 4 in a row over this this squad here, and in Coach Ogden's career, 8 of 10 against John Carroll. And his only losses came back in 2017 and 2019. So had recent good success against John Carroll, including a tournament win over them in the past 2 years. This semifinal round, though, has been an issue for Coach Ogden getting over that hump, and he's 2-5 in the semifinals. Every single year here at Capital, he has made it to this point. The OAC semifinals, his team, I should say, has made it to this point. The last time they got a win in the semifinals was back in 2017, and guess who the opponent was that day? It was also John Carroll. So a lot of things are just kind of setting up with the history of how things have gone. It's kind of always poetic that way, and a chance for Coach Ogden to advance to his first OAC final with his team since 2017. Of course, they won in 2015 and won the semi in that round as well. 4 straight losses in this semifinal round, though, at the hands of ONU and Otterbein over the last 4 tournaments. And the key difference, as I was talking with Nick, our sports information director here at Capital, the big difference is we haven't had those games here at Bernlohr, and he's the 1 seed this year. So that's big, getting those early wins in conference play, tying Ohio Northern, and getting the win against Otterbein on the road. Those are the 2 big games that decided who was the home field. That win over Otterbein was the tiebreaker against Ohio Northern. So he's earned the right to play here on this field, and again, looking to snap a streak of semifinal losses and get this team into the OAC final on Saturday, in which case Capital would host that game as well. So some notes from Saturday. Haley Moore was hurt in that game. She is out today. She's in a boot and crutches, so I'll call it questionable for Saturday as well. Sometimes the boot and the crutches is a precautionary thing. Sometimes it's an indication of something more serious. So we don't know there, but that is a big loss in the center of Capital's defense. Lexi Snyder was also questionable for today. Was tested out pregame. She's a go. Saw her get banged up at the end of the game on Saturday and was taken down hard twice in the last 3 minutes. Still a little bit sore from that, but she's a go today. So Capital starters. In net, it's going to be Lauren White, the senior, getting the nod over freshman Liv Alford. We've talked about this situation, and they go with the senior tonight, the more experienced of the 2. Both have been phenomenal this season, and Coach Ogden's going to ride his senior to start tonight's game. Joining Lauren White, Abby English, Madeline Woodruff, Lexi Snyder, Nicole Ogden. Tori Cottrell gets the start at defense. More on that in a second. Avery Hart, Taylor Markham, Sophia Leonetti, Francesca Longano, and Grace Estes. So based on the 11 in front of me, it would appear we're going to have the striker at the top of the formation would be Hart. To her left and right would be Estes and Longano. The midfield would be the same as it's been with Woodruff as the attacking midfielder and Ogden and Leonetti more the defensive midfield in the alignment. And then the back situation, you would assume Lexi's going to move back to the outside. So when Haley went down, Lexi went to the outside, and El Pelletier came in to play on the outer back position. But it looks like today the alignment's going to be more of Snyder back to the outside, Markham opposite of her, and then the two in the middle would be English and Cottrell. So that's at least how it's set up at first, and we'll see if they continue to mix and match there or if they're going to try to ride that out, because Coach Ogden has not been using his subs all that much. We've seen a few subs in recent weeks. It's been Zugaro and Logano basically running a pair at one wing, and on the other wing, basically it's Lizzie Elliott and Grace Estes rotating with each other, and there haven't been much outside of that. We've seen Pelletier here and there. It'll be interesting to see if she comes in and they move Snyder to the inside, or if they just try to ride Cottrell the whole 90, or what the plan is for replacing Haley Moore, but we really don't know as she's been out. And again, that's a big defender for Capital. She was an OAC Player of the Week defensively this year, and kind of the anchor with English in the middle of this defense. So that's obviously a huge concern, losing a defender this late in the season. And they had only, I guess, with it being Thursday, they had about half a week to try to work that out in practice. This is the alignment they've come up with. On the other side, John Carroll is going to send out a senior in net as well, Juliana Kunthol. She's out of Solon, Ohio, and a senior matchup in the goalie matchup today. Joining her is Grace Monin, Taylor Woleber, Gabrielle Walter, Emily Patrazek, Meredith Collian, Claire Hollern, Allie Malinky, Lauren Gummany, and Madison Rosado. I missed one here. Catherine Schaefer as well. Its defense is the last for John Carroll. Some key names to keep an eye out for. Emily Patrazak, we've said that name before. She scored 12 goals this season, second in the OAC. Avery Hart 11 right behind her. And that was a really good matchup between those going for a yearly title. Actually, Patrazak had 13, Decker and Patrazak tied for the conference lead with 13 this season. Hart was fourth with 11th, tied with Sydney Rice from Baldwin Wallace. So two elite goal scorers facing off in this one. Rosado is also in that conversation. Madison Rosado had 9 goals scored this season, and Grace Monin has scored 4. So that's 10, 22, and 3, the jersey numbers to keep an eye out for some goal scorers on the other side from John Carroll. I think that about sets it up. We'll see if Capital can remain unbeaten in OAC play this year, and this time we will go to overtime if we are tied after the 90 minutes. They changed that rule, so that's my mistake on the broadcast on Saturday. I mentioned they were going to overtime when Capital had actually just tied the game, and that was the end of it. So today we will go to overtime, and if needed, penalty kicks to decide a winner. No ties here tonight in this one. And we'll go and see what we can do here from Bernlohr. 2:17 on the clock. We're about to have our starting lineups announced here, so in a few minutes we'll have first kick. Stay with us. We'll go to the public address and national anthem and come back for first kick here from Bernlohr.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, welcome to Bernlohr Field at Bernlohr Stadium on the campus of Capital University for tonight's OAC women's soccer match featuring the visiting Blue Streaks of John Carroll University and your Capital University Comets. Fans, at this time, let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for the visiting Blue Streaks. Number 3, Grace Monin. Number 6, Taylor Wooliver. Number 7, Gabriella Walker. Number 10, Emily Patrazek. Number 15, Meredith Coloni. Number 17, Claire Holler. Number 18, Allie Malinky. Number 19, Lauren Gummany. Number 22, Madison Rosado. Number 32, Catherine Schaefer. And the goal for John Carroll, number 1, Juliana Kunthol. The Blue Streaks are led by Michael Marich and assisted by Jake Cooper and Madison Zimmerman. And now, fans, the starting lineup for your Capital University Comets. At defense, a sophomore from Columbus, number 4, Abby English. At midfield, a senior from Hilliard, number 8, Madeline Woodruff. At defense, a junior from Canal Winchester, number 11, Lexi Snyder. At midfield, a sophomore from Dublin, number 12, Nicole Ogden. At midfield, a junior from Milford, number 13, Tori Cottrell. At forward, a senior from Pickerington, number 15, Avery Hart. At defense, a freshman from Gahanna, number 23, Taylor Markham. At midfield, a junior from Westerville, number 25, Sophia Leonetti. At forward, a sophomore from Mayfield, number 27, Francesca Langano. At forward, a sophomore from West Liberty, number 29, Grace Estes. And in goal for your Comets, a senior from Dublin, number 1, Lauren White. Capital is led by Matt Ogden in his 8th season and assisted by Megan Wharton and Giovanni Salinas. And now, fans, at this time, we invite you to rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
And welcome back to the broadcast booth here at Bernlohr Stadium. It is Capital, it is John Carroll, it is the OAC semis, and we are ready to get things underway here at Bernlohr Field. Lauren White gets the start in net, the senior from on Capital's side. She has played 811 minutes and 50 seconds in net, a 1.22 GAA, 41 saves, 78% save percentage, a 6-2-2 overall record for White in net. On the opposite side for John Carroll, they'll go with the senior Juliana Contul. She has played less minutes than fellow senior Mackenzie Stees, and she's allowed 17 goals, a 1.94 GAA, 5-3 overall record, 73% save percentage for Contul. Consul has played in in the recent games. She has started the last 2 for them. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. They've been kind of cycling in and out as well. She split time with Mackenzie Stees in the game against Mount Union back on the 26th. In the Capital game, Mackenzie Stees got the start. The first matchup, the Capital won 3-0. Stees allowed 3 goals and saved 6. Lauren White had a shutout with 5 saves. You'll recall this was the game that Avery Hart had a hat trick for Capital just about a week and a half ago. October 22nd was when that game was played up in Cleveland. So we'll switch sites for this one, and Capital appears to be the big favorite going in here, but maybe they've learned something from the tape and can stop Avery Hart. The other big stories we mentioned is the defensive situation. Capital is going to have Tori Cottrell starting in the spot of injured Haley Moore, and it looks like she's playing towards the middle of the alignment as we predicted. Taylor Markham is to the right of the goalkeeper White, and Snyder to the left. Snyder actually normally plays on the right with Markham on the left, so they've switched those for whatever reason there. English is still on the right side in the center, and Cottrell to the left, so maybe putting Snyder on the left with Cottrell makes a little bit more sense to evenly strengthen everything out and balance it along the defensive line for Capital. So that'll be a big story, as Capital's defense is one of the best in the conference. In terms of the statistics of the 9 games played in conference, a .67 GAA for Capital. As a team, they allowed just 6 goals, and that ranked 3rd in the conference, behind only Ohio Northern and Otterbein. Capital trying to get some shots up early here. Hart's going to have to play it back to Woodruff. Woodruff looking to her left, and we'll drop it back to Snyder instead. Ogden in the area as well, and Ogden will get another drop here from Snyder. Snyder was a game-time decision today, and obviously is a go. We'll see if she can give it the full 90 or not as well. As this morning they did not know if Lexi was going to be healthy enough to play in this game. A chip pass to Markham now on a through ball at the top of your screen. Markham has it, looking for a cross, sends it low, and it's knocked out of the box, recovered by Ogden. A nice fake, left-footed shot. Got blocked, I think. And yeah, it did. It's going to be a corner kick. That thing took a weird turn off of her foot there and was clearly blocked. So now a corner kick for Capital, and the deadly combination, if you've been watching lately, has been Woodruff to Leonetti, including the game-tying goal in the 90th minute on Saturday that gave Capital the #1 seed, and they connect again! Woodruff to Leonetti. That is the 5th time we've seen that here at Bernlohr in the last week. Right on cue, Capital takes the lead in the 3rd minute of the contest with Leonetti scoring again. That's goal number 8 for Leonetti. Unbelievable. She had 3 against against Heidelberg back on the 26th. She had 1 against Baldwin Wallace. That's the 3rd straight game that Leonetti has scored on a corner kick from Woodruff. Wow.
The Capital goal scored by number 25, Sophia Leonetti, assist to Madeline Woodruff.
Unbelievable. Those two have been on the same page. And Leonetti puts Capital up early in the 3rd minute. A nightmare start for John Carroll, as they're now playing down, chasing 1 already. And they really haven't had possession on this end of the field. We just got started here, and Capital has come out firing. Cap is looking for more already. Estes plays it to Ogden. Ogden set up that corner kick with her shot that was blocked. Cottrell and English working it upfield. I don't know how you let Leonetti get open on corner kicks. Again, the last week has been all Leonetti on corners. And if there's one thing and one person to watch on corner kicks, if we've learned anything the last week, is don't let 25 get a good clean shot off of a corner, and she still is open. Wow. Leonetti had 3 goals a week and a half ago, and now she has 8 on the season. Markham with an inside move, passes it off. Estes goes for a shot that's blocked. Woodruff recovers. Woodruff moves to her left. Spin move. Okay, Woodruff crosses. It's going to stay in bounds. And following it up is Snyder. Good handling there from Woodruff. Snyder pops it forward. Ogden. Oh, to Lungano, whose shot is saved. Very easily could have been 2-0. A nice find there. And Francesco Lungano, the sophomore, puts it right on net. And the save is made by Consul. English. Snyder. And now Ogden has it. Well, with the team losing their center back with Capital and Haley Moore being out, getting an early goal takes a lot of pressure off of this back line. But still, obviously, they need to be solid here. But Capital could turn this into a game just outscoring John Carroll and putting some on the board early is part of that plan, and they've done that already. And they are still on the attack here, folks. Already 5 shots for Capital, and we are just now entering the 6th minute. Estes stop move. Now spins and dribbled it out of bounds. They're hitting the B button a lot today with the spin moves. We've seen Estes and Woodruff both go for that move. 39:50 to play. Already, again, 5 shots for Capital, and they lead 1-0 on the goal from Sophia Leonetti off the corner kick. Kanto won't take the goal kick. They actually had the defender play this one up. And it didn't get a lot of leg on it to begin with, and it takes one extra body out of the play when you have a defender taking the goal kick. English panics a little bit there and just kicks it out of bounds. She had 2 players on her there, so she decided to just kick it out of bounds and fight for a better situation rather than allow a counter off of a turnover. And John Carroll now has a little bit of something developing, and English again steps in front and kicks it out of bounds. Winner of this game will take on Ohio Northern or Otterbein in the OAC final on Saturday. Winner goes to the NCAA's Capital, trying to get there for the first time since 2015. John Carroll trying to just get a shot up here and get some momentum going, as it was a tough task to come in here and get a win to begin with, but you give up a goal in the 3rd minute, and that makes it all the much more pressure on you as the visitors to come in here and try to pull off the upset. The pressure completely shifts from Capital, who's the 1 seed, as the ball gets sent on net from about 50 yards out. White will just catch it out of the air. Now, you're the 1 seed coming into this. All the pressure's on you. The underdog gets to play loose and all of that. And that narrative completely goes away when you give up a goal in the 3rd minute. Now the pressure becomes the underdog chasing a goal, trying to stay with this Capital team that, again, is just relentlessly attacking. Estes with another nice spin move and a dangerous slide tackle there from John Carroll. It's going to stay with Capital. The men's team here in support, you might see them behind the Capital bench there on the railing. And they suffered a loss in the OAC tournament in the first round against Otterbein on Tuesday. So unfortunately their season has come to an end, but nice to see them out here supporting the women's team. John Carroll working on a clear here, and it's kicked out of bounds, so Cap will have a throw-in on the near sideline. Capital will start their basketball seasons as well. Our first home game is already a week from Saturday. The women will start things off. The men's first home game is on November 19th, so we encourage you to continue to follow along with Capital Athletics as we move into the winter sports as well after the conclusion of the soccer seasons and the rest of the fall sports here at Capital. Throw in for John Carroll coming now, and Snyder's going to header it towards Estes, who's playing way down here defensively, and now it's on the foot of Avery Hart. Hart tied for 4th with 11 goals in the OAC this season. Ogden and Woodruff working together. This is actually Logano, working with Estes now on the near side. Estes walks it up to Avery Hart. Hart turns inside, and I think that was a shot that did not have enough spin on it. It's going to go way wide. And I think it'll go in the books as a shot, but one that really didn't have a chance. About 9 minutes in, and it's 1-0 Capital still. Another goal kick played by the defender, and the kick is again short, and it comes right back to Avery Hart. Hart takes a shot that gets blocked. Catherine Schaefer stands in front of that one. It's recovered by Capital and kicked out of bounds. Estes and Logano, somehow it switched sides there. So that was Estes who gets the corner here. I wish I could throw a billboard up that says to mark 25 here, but we'll see if they can connect again. Leonetti is on the far post, and she has 2 players glued to her, which is probably the smart move. So Logano's going to move to the front post. Here's the ball. It's sent deep into the box and sent on net by Estes, who came all the way from off screen on the wing and kick it towards the net. Much more difficult angle there coming from the wing, trying to volley that from Woodruff, but John Carroll was smart and put 2 right on Leonetti, so she was a non-factor there. She's got 2 on her, someone's open. Nice aggressive tackle from Markham. It's going to stay with John Carroll. That play is onside, and Markham kicks it out of bounds now. Markham listed on the roster as a forward. She's a freshman. And, again, kind of occupying the spot that Aaliyah Berletic was had worked the whole season, her whole offseason for her. She was a forward as well, and she was making that transition to outer back, which, again, can be an offensive position in Coach Ogden's attack. We've seen Snyder be involved, especially with some assists this season. And Markham as well has 2 goals from that position as an outer back. And again, listed as a forward, had to come in due to Berletic's injury. And we've seen a couple of different players play in that position. Pelletier initially got some starts, and then Markham has earned the spot on the outer back. And the freshman kind of solidifying her spot there. And it'll be interesting to see if she stays there or if she moves to an attacking role. Obviously, Avery Hart will be gone, but you still have a lot of upperclassmen. A lot of underclassmen are going to become upperclassmen next year with Estes and Longano. The 2 starters on the wings, they'll both be here next year, obviously. And then you have Elliott, who's a freshman as well as an attacker that comes in, and Zagaro's a sophomore. So it seems to be pretty crowded up front still, so maybe we see Markham stick as an outer back, even though she was kind of initially recruited as this forward. At least that's what the roster says. Leonetti takes a shot wide. 33 minutes to play in the first half, and it's still 1-0. It's still 8-0 in terms of shots for Capital. And that doesn't even count that last shot from Leonetti, which is now 9-0. Snyder steps in front of that clear attempt, and for the moment, John Carroll struggling to get it across midfield. It looks like they will. And now Snyder's going to win the foot race back to the ball, and she'll kick it back to the senior, Lauren White. White and Alford split a lot of time in net this season. Alford played 628 minutes to White's 811 minutes. Both phenomenal numbers. The 2 goals allowed on Saturday kind of threw some of White's numbers towards higher in the ranking. She was 3rd in GAA, and now she's 5th is where she finishes the season at 1.22. Alford finished at 0.57. A shot here towards White goes wide. So you got 2 top 5 goalkeepers in terms of the statistics, at least in terms of GAA. In terms of save percentage, you have 2 of the top 4 in the conference. Alford at 88%, 7% better than anyone else in the conference. White at 78.8%. She was 0.001% off of 3rd place, Ohio Northern's goalie Moss. So obviously 2 really talented players, and it was a tough decision for Coach to go with White or Alford tonight, and he decided to go with the senior and go with the experience in net. Longano drops it back to Avery Hart. Hart fakes a shot, moves right, takes a shot, and it's a save made by Consul. She had initially bobbled it, but she was able to get on top of it before the rebound was sent back at her. Consul's been solid since the corner kick, which, again, how much of that is the goalie's fault when a free man like Leonetti gets a clean header off at her. Ball goes outside on the clear, and Hart recovers it. Hart fakes across, dribbles in, passes it off to Longano. A shot at the net, and it's wide. That was actually Woodruff with the shot attempt there. And Capital continuing to pepper shots at the net. 30-40 to play first half. Still 1-0, and the shot disparity now is at 11-1. Cap has dominated possession as well, and a lot of these goal kicks from John Carroll have been short, and then they require a second kick to kind of help it along, and by the time it gets to that point, Capital's winning all of these possessions, and they're just turning around and going right back. While it's cleared away from Estes on the midfield. She's again switched sides with Longano here. So Logano's on the left of Hart now, and Estes to the right. That ball's out of bounds as it's sent forward, trying to keep that in play and put it on net, but John Carroll unable to do so. It'll be a throw-in for Capital all the way up down in front of us. Snyder will throw it in for Cap, and a good toss upfield to Hart with a header to Logano, who controls it. Now it's kind of bouncing on her, and Logano will pull it back, try to send it across to Estes, and it's cleared away by John Carroll once again. Leonetti contesting now with Ogden in the midfield. And John Carroll's been able to advance it. Coming back to the play is Markham, and she wins possession back for Capital. Ogden with a through ball too far out in front of Logano, and that's going to go through the end zone. We mentioned in the pregame, but John Carroll has a couple of high scorers on their side in terms of individual goal scorers. Tied for first in the conference was their Emily Pedersek. Sorry, in conference games, she had 6 goals scored of her 13 on the year. 18 games, 13 goals for Emily Pedersek. And then she's a freshman. And another underclassman, a sophomore, Madison Rosado, sophomore. Again, 9 goals in 15 games for her, and she's missed 3 of the 18 for John Carroll. And they also had Grace Monin, who's a senior, score 4 for them. So 3 4-goal scorers on this roster. 2 had at least 9, and both of them are underclassmen. So there's a lot of offensive firepower for this John Carroll team from years to come. But they don't have a goalkeeper on the roster for next year. So they're definitely going to have some question marks at the goalkeeper position next year, with 2 seniors leaving the program. And I would assume at least 2 goalkeepers coming in as freshmen. We'll see how that settles when John Carroll and Capital meet up next October. And Pedersek is number 10 and Rosado number 22. We haven't really said either of their names in this one. And they've both been very quiet. The one shot that was taken, which again wasn't a very high quality shot, from Meredith Collian. So again, nothing from Pedersek, nothing from Rosado, nothing from Modern early in this game. Still working our way towards the midpoint of the first half. 27:15 to play in the first half. 1-0 Capital on a 3rd-minute goal on a corner kick from Woodruff to Leonetti. Kicked out of bounds. Our first substitute of the game will be coming on now for John Carroll. Well, it's actually a Capital throw-in, so the official initially let her on and then said never mind. It looks like Abby Smith will be the sub, number 5 for John Carroll. Markham throws it in. Hart tries to send it down in the corner. This is going to be a corner kick for Capital now. And eyes immediately turn to Leo and where she's going to position. She is not on the post. Oh, she's going to the post this time. So 2 players again marking Leonetti on the far post. See what they do this time. Woodruff puts it right in the center of the box, and it's blocked away. Lexi Snyder was closest to it that time. And it's going to go out of bounds off of John Carroll. Estes throws it into the box. Here's Hart backing up. And a nice fake. Might have gotten tripped up a little bit. Her pass was a little offline there for Woodruff. Markham following up, trying to keep the threat alive. Woodruff helping out. Leonetti gets the steal. Back to Woodruff. Woodruff too far out in front of her foot now. Cottrell plays it to English. Cap will slow it back down and play possession now. English comes back this way to Cottrell. Torrey is a junior out of Milford, Ohio. More on her in a second as a skip in towards the goal here by Snyder. Kicked away from her. Markham plays it back to Leonetti, and English back to Cottrell. Cottrell has played now 14 games this season, so she's been a part of most games here for Capital. 14 of 17 she's played in. usually is kind of a defensive midfielder. So she does have that kind of defensive mindset and has been solid so far to this point. Defensively across the four of Markham, English, Cottrell, and Snyder, all four have been really good in this game, and it looks like they're kind of continuing on. Good pass here from Cottrell to Snyder upfield. Snyder, her pass is denied, sent right back out. And now Rosado trying to win it for John Carroll. Rosado with a swing across now, trying to find Monin, and not going to be able to. Snyder to Cottrell, and a pass over towards Leonetti gets taken away. Leonetti gets it back. Leo just so solid in the midfield, having another great start. And now a nice ball from Woodruff to Lungano trying to run it down and angled out of bounds. Gabriella Walter able to cut it off, and now finally Abby Smith will get the check in. She replaces Claire Hollard. Claire, a senior out of Dublin, Ohio, a little bit of a homecoming game for her. I went to Dublin Jerome High School, which is the same high school as Nicole Ogden, and she actually shared a hug with Coach Ogden. I'm sure the two have had a relationship in the Dublin soccer scene. Obviously, Coach Ogden is very big there. Several players on the roster from Dublin for Capital, including both goalkeepers. Another freshman, Maya Swearingen, out of Dublin. Nicole Ogden, obviously, and Catherine Zagaro and Lizzie Elliott, both out of Dublin as well. Two of the younger strikers. So a lot of the younger players on the team, though, part of the more recent recruiting classes from that Dublin area, where Coach has those connections. Midpoint of the first half, 1-0 Capital, still in front. And after the kick from Lauren White, we start things up at midfield. Leonetti has it, plays it back now after she tried to work it forward. Snyder's ball gets ricocheted here. The striker subs are getting ready to come on. Zagaro and Elliott, who will likely replace the two wings in Lungano and Estes. As Markham works it upfield, takes a shot that gets blocked. Hart tried to header it to the weak side, and it's going to be cleared out of bounds by John Carroll. So Capital will get those fresh legs into the contest. And it's two of the Dublin players that we just mentioned. Lizzie Elliott and Catherine Zagaro. Elliott out of Kaufman, and so is Zagaro, actually, both out of Dublin Kaufman. 3 high schools out of Dublin, Ohio. It's about, if you're unfamiliar, 20 minutes from here on the northwest side of the inner loop. Avery Hart has it for Capital after the throw-in. She turns upfield, tries to win at least a corner here. And it's going to come out to Markham. Markham sends one in on net and caught out of the air by Contal in net. Let's take a look at how things are going over at Otterbein and Ohio Northern, I should say. As that game is being played in Ada, Ohio, with the Cardinals being the 3 seed and the Polar Bears being the 2 seed. Nice move here. Now a tackle between Zagaro and one of the other players on John Carroll. Cap keeps the play going upfield. We haven't had many whistles. I don't think we've had a foul in this game. Yeah, no foul statistically for either team. Much different story than Saturday when we had a very physical game and a lot of whistles in that one, especially towards the end. Capital receiving some punishment in that one. I think there were 4 or 5 cards issued in that game. Coach Ogden himself got a card for talking to the officials. For talking, yeah. We'll leave it at that. Pulling up the score from the Otterbein Ohio Northern game. It is loading up on my screen right now. Otterbein defeated Baldwin Wallace 2-1 on Tuesday to advance to the semifinal, and they are still scoreless with the Polar Bears 27-35 to play in their first half action. So far, shots favoring Ohio Northern 3-2, but as expected, a pretty even game. Those two teams played to a tie in their first game as part of the regular season. Ohio Northern finished with an identical 7-0-2 record as this ball gets outside to Elliott. Snyder, passes forward to Hart, and it's cleared out of bounds. So Otterbein and Ohio Northern very well may end up in PKs. But obviously plenty of time left in that game. Just two really even teams. So it'll be really interesting to see where that one ends up. And the winner awaits the winner of this one. Cap trying to get that extra insurance goal. Markham crosses and cleared out of the picture, out of bounds to the top of your screen. Ohio Northern was the team that knocked Capital out of the semifinals last year. They actually did it twice in 2021. A 2-1 loss in the fall normal 2021 season, and in that spring 21 season they lost in an epic penalty kick battle in the semis 9-8. And sometimes it's that intense. Of course, the flip side of that, back in 2015 when Coach Ogden was in his first year here with Capital, as a foul's called against Capital. Ohio Northern lost in penalty kicks to Capital 4-3, which pushed Capital into the NCAAs for what was the third straight season. They made it in all of 13, 14, and 15. And penalty kicks are just brutal. It's exciting when you win, but just gut-wrenching when you lose. And hopefully neither of these games come to it. It's such a, for us and for the viewers, it's great. It's tense and it's good drama, but it's just a gut-wrenching way to lose. And kind of different than just, allowing a goal on the field. It's a completely different game. It's you and the goalie, and that's it. And it kind of minimizes the game to that moment and, setting the scene for that. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio Northern and Otterbein end up there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the final comes down to it either. These top three teams are so even. And with Capital getting that home field advantage, they get that slight edge probably. And they've beaten Otterbein as well. So you have some recent history there. But it was a 1-0 win. And it was kind of a scramble goal from Markham that won that game on the road. And it's going to come down to having 90 minutes of focus, and then that might not even be enough for either of those teams. And John Carroll, for what it's worth, they were the 4 seed. They went 4-4-1, and they were the 4 seed in the conference. So that kind of shows you no one in the middle of this conference really kind of stood out from that tier. Excuse me, they did finish 5-4. My mistake there, but still kind of that big step down from a 6-1-2 Otterbein record. You're looking at 20 points on the table versus 15 there. And that middle tier, 4 through 6, 4 through 7, I guess if you include Wilmington, those teams all had either 5-4 or either 4 or 5 wins. John Carroll had 5, and the other 3 teams had 4. And that draw from Capital and Baldwin Wallace actually got Baldwin Wallace into the tournament, and they were defeated by Otterbein, as we just mentioned. That middle tier of the conference, though, is kind of a big step down from those top 3. And Ohio Northern Capital and Otterbein have kind of been running this conference for the last few years, and it's been Capital, again, losing 4 straight semifinals. They're kind of right there. They're right on the cusp. And this year they finally put it together to win the conference in the regular season and earn this home field edge. you look back at the last few losses. Again, we mentioned in 2021 they lost in PKs 9-8. Ridiculous. The other 3 losses over that time period, they lost by 1 goal. 2-1 last year, 2-1 in 19, 1-0 in 18. So they've been in all those games, have been down by just 1 goal, but it's always just one moment sometimes that could decide it. And with the way this game has been kind of evening out here in the later stages of the first half, that one lapse in the first few minutes for John Carroll could be a real lesson for this final if it ends up being 1-0, which, again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but let's just paint a picture where this game ends 1-0. It was one moment early in this contest that decided the winner of the game. And then that's what happens sometimes. John Carroll for a team that, Snyder goes down hard there. Some of that to her own accord, and she is very slow to get up, and that is not a good sign for Capital. Cap just trying to kick it out of bounds here, give her some time. Snyder's face down on the turf, and Coach Ogden now wants the trainers to take a look. So Snyder was questionable. We mentioned maybe not in the best shape to give it a go tonight. It's a playoff game. She's going to give it a go. And she did. And now she just came up a little bit lame there after trying to maneuver a dribble there. I think Pelletier is warming up for Capital. Snyder has now finally rolled over and is now just sitting on the field. Coach Ogden going to check it out. Kind of alluded to if Snyder would be able to go the full 90. She's beat up. She is not 100%, and she is not able to put weight on her left ankle, which is reminiscent of how Haley Moore looked on Thursday, or on Saturday, I should say. Today is Thursday, and this is not good. Another Capital defender going down. It will be Pelletier to check in for Capital. And Snyder not in good shape as she's hopping to the bench right now. That could be another huge blow to Capital. Pelletier will take over on this left side that Snyder was playing. So Markham and Pelletier will not switch sides here. And Pelletier, again, another player who's been involved, just like Cottrell. Pelletier this season has played in 13 games now of the 17 for Capital and is comfortable in this outer back position. She's very quick, so she adds that element as well. But the injuries are coming at the wrong time for Capital. Never a good time for injuries, but after the injury to Berletic kind of earlier in the season and Gambasini, who was already hurt in the preseason, you lost 2 seniors there. Now you lose 2 of your starting defenders. And again, never a good time for injury, but this is not the time at the end of the year when you want them to start racking up, and this is why you build that depth throughout the season. And Cottrell and Pelletier are in the battle now. This is the OAC tournament, and it's probably going to be them the rest of the way. Markham plays forward here from the far end of the field. 12:45 to play. It's kind of a quiet crowd now ever since the injury there. And again, John Carroll's kind of evened this game out, so to say, as we haven't had too many scoring chances from Capital in a minute. I say evening it out with a grain of salt, as it's 15-2 in terms of the shot advantage right now. So not completely even, obviously, but it's been more level. They've been keeping Capital away from their own net. And in the first few minutes, Capital was just coming at the net and firing shots away. They had 5 in the first 5 minutes. And they've had 7 since that point in the next 28 minutes. So that kind of shows you it's slowing down in terms of the goal chances for Capital. And now just trying to get to halftime maybe and regroup after losing Snyder. I guess Capital was offside there, so this kick is coming from literally a yard in front of the end zone, and it's sent upfield. Not a bad job by John Carroll to clear that away. Nice footwork there as well from Abby Smith. She sends it upfield. Numbers here for John Carroll, but English comes down and sweeps it away from Monin. A lot of credit to number 5 there, Abby Smith, with a nice spin move at midfield and got it up in front of her attackers. This is Smith again, and she kicks it off of Pelletier to get a throw in for John Carroll. So the Blue Streaks playing with a little bit of energy here. 11 minutes to play in the first half. Throw in coming on the near corner of the field. It's thrown right down in front of Smith, gets it right back. Smith passes across. Malinke trying to set up a cross, and that might have got a piece. No, it did not. Trying to find any part of Pelletier there to kick it out of bounds off of Capital, but Pelletier did a good job to avoid it. And with 10:28 to play now, it'll be a goal kick for Capital and a chance to relax some of this pressure off of them. Still 0-0 between the Polar Bears and the Cardinals, so only one score here tonight across the two OAC semis. It's Sophia Leonetti, so far playing hero for Capital. Ogden goes down, and that's a foul. We still haven't said Paterzak's name at all. Number 10 for John Carroll. And she has not been involved, like I said, at all in the attack yet. She's at midfield right now with Leonetti on her, so Leo's doing a really good job shutting her down. Zagaro sends one at net that goes wide. Malinke and Coleraine with the two shots on the other side. So nothing for Rosado, but we've at least said her name. She's been involved. Paterzak, we haven't seen her really at all. She's on the opposite end of the field from where the play is right now. You can kind of see her at the 30-yard line. That's where she's positioned in the middle of the field. She's moving into the center of the box here. Collision between those two players, and it's going to be a goal kick for Capital. No whistle there between Cottrell and I believe that was Monin again. It was. $8:30 to play in the first half. It feels like Cap's kind of limping their way into the locker room right now, trying to get control back of this game. On the scoreboard, they have it. In terms of possession, it's been kind of level since the quick start that the Comets have had. Markham has had a really good game today, and she's bringing this one back upfield. Pass gets blocked. Now goes to the middle of the field with it, and a shot that's going to go wide. That was Lizzie Elliott taking that one. Coach Ogden throws his hands on his head. Wasn't sure what the thought process was there. Bailey Brown and Gina Merlot check in for John Carroll. They also had Lizzie Wu check in earlier. So Capital has used 3 subs, and John Carroll has now used 4. Markham trying to win possession for Cap, and she will with a throw-in at least. Now a corner kick coming for Capital. Corner kicks are usually, there's a little bit of a pep for the corner kick. Feels like it's a good opportunity to score. But it really feels like that lately here at Bernlohr. Leonetti getting a lot of attention on the far post. They're going to try it anyway. They send it to Leonetti, and it's headed away from her. And now blocked up field by John Carroll. A couple of headers. Good defending here from Pelletier, keeping the threat alive, and it'll be kicked out of bounds. Pelletier will throw it in now for Capital. Goes to Zagaro, back to Pelletier. Pelletier, a freshman as well, out of Chillicothe, just south of Columbus. All kicked out of bounds. Thrown upfield. Zagaro trying to take it away. Hart still involved, and now Leonetti will contest. Pelletier trying to use some of that speed. Looked like a handball. Ogden follows it up. And her pass is short. Didn't have enough juice. Back to midfield again. Leonetti contests. Comes out towards Merlot. She'll play it back to the defense. And John Carroll seems to have something going here. 5.5 minutes. They get it across midfield. Markham shuts it down. And Merlot will get it right back. Plays it outside wide. Keep an eye in the middle of the box. That's Peterzek. They're trying to get it that direction. And cleared away by English. Five minutes to go until halftime. The Blue Streaks playing with some good momentum here. It's thrown into the box. This is Peterzek. She got a head on it, and that's it. And now English will clear it away. Working hard to get it out in the defensive midfield is Woodruff. And a nice ball in front of Pelletier. She's using the speed. She passes forward. Here's Hart onside, and the kick out of bounds off of John Carroll. Swept away by Schaefer. Cap right back to the attack. Pelletier is Hart to her left, and throws it in that direction. Hart and Zagaro fight for it. Pelletier gets it back, and now chipped a couple of ways here for John Carroll, and ball just lofted up into the air, goes off of John Carroll. Oh, that's a bad call. They're going to say that's off of Capital, and one of the officials points at the other official, says that wasn't me. And he didn't have the best angle. That was definitely off of John Carroll, though. 4 minutes to play. John Carroll's able to work it upfield a little bit. Another ball out of bounds. Tonight's officials, by the way, Aaron Mitchell, our head referee, and Kerry Williams and Kyle Moust out there as well. Woodruff wins possession for Capital. Played it to Ogden, too much on it. And now a good cross to Merlot here at midfield. Merlot tries the far end of the field, getting it towards Brown. She's onside and can't run it down. 3.5 minutes to play. Shot still favoring Cap at 17-2. A third-minute goal is looming larger and larger as we progress in this game. Nice ball by Ogden, and now Hart calls for it, switches spots with Zagaro. Hart working one-on-one. She beats the defender. And now Avery Hart with a full head of steam towards the goal. She moves to the right. She's looking for help, turns towards the net, stops, comes back this way, and it's cleared away. So much to do about nothing there. And now cleared upfield. This is Peterzek. This is trouble. Peterzek has a step on English. Moves into the box. Peterzek takes the shot, and right there is Lauren White to close the door. Maybe a miscue there from the Capital attack, and Peterzek gets her first quality look of the night, and Lauren White is in the perfect position to take that shot away. Her biggest save of the day. 2:22 to play in the half. English will play it back to White again. Contal has made 3 saves in net. White with just one that we just saw a moment ago. Played upfield, and a little bit of back and forth. It goes to Merlot. Merlot moving into the box, takes the shot, I think, and it's wide. Goes over the crossbar and potentially wide of the net, too. Hard to tell from our angle. 1:45 to play in the half, and I mentioned Capital feels like it's kind of limping towards the locker room, and John Carroll had 2 shots 2 minutes ago. Now they have 4, so they've already doubled their output from the first 40 minutes of the game in the last 2. And if they ever needed a halftime break, I think it's now to regroup. the effort and energy they had in the first 10 minutes of this game has dissipated since then. Sent upfield, Zagaro to Hart, and now Ogden making a run. Ogden with a big dribble, and Schaefer's again going to kick it out of bounds. 1 minute left in the half for Capital. Pelletier sprints forward, but it's going to be Ogden to throw it in. Ogden now gets the pass back from Hart. Ogden in the corner with it, and still has it. Twice her cross was blocked. Pelletier keeps it in play. Will throw it in bounds now. 40 seconds left. Pelletier, one hops it to Hart. Hart controls to her right. Bakes it to the left, takes it to the right, and her shot is going to loft wide. Might have been a cross from Markham, but I think that was a shot that was supposed to have some curl on it. 20 seconds left in the half, and John Carroll, honestly, after allowing a third-minute goal, they've really rebounded well, and they've played pretty well towards the end of the second half. And I mentioned for Cap, getting to the locker room, probably the best thing right now. They can regroup with a 1-0 lead. John Carroll will try to make some adjustments as well. A corner kick combination between Leonetti and Woodruff. The difference in the game right now. 1-0 Capital will step away for 15 and play another 45 to see if Capital can hang on to the 1-0 lead and advance to the OAC final for the first time in 4 years. We'll be right back. 45 minutes separates Capital from the OAC final. It's a 3rd-minute goal from Sophia Leonetti on a corner kick. That's the difference if you're just joining us. Jimmy Bloomfield up here in the broadcast booth. Bernlohr Field at Bernlohr Stadium on the campus of Capital University, the site. First kick goes to John Carroll here in the second half. And Cap's got to come out with some new fire here because they did not look great at the end of that first half. A lot of that energy and gusto they had in the first few minutes has just kind of fizzled out here in the later part of that first half, and John Carroll really got some momentum going at the end of the half. We're able to get 2 shots off in the last 5 minutes after not getting 2 shots off, and they got a total of 2 shots off in the first 40 minutes. So they really changed that, and they're playing with a lot more energy here in the second half, and they're going to make a run at Capital here. 45 minutes left with their season on the line, and they need 1 to tie. Cap is hanging on there. They've got that 3rd-minute goal. They're out shooting John Carroll 17-4 still. So in terms of the grade on the second part of the second half where I mentioned, or second part of the first half where I mentioned they've been struggling, still a solid B- probably for the performance. The first 10 minutes was an A+. The next 35 probably about a B-. It's been enough today to have control of this game at 1-0. Throw-in coming for Capital. It's thrown into Markham. Played back to Leonetti. Leonetti plays it on towards Avery Hart. Spin move. Hart weaving back and forth. Gets it to Woodruff, and now it's cleared away. Woodruff will have to drop it back to Leonetti. And to midfield now, controlled by John Carroll. And they try to work this through. And now it's passed down to the left side. John Carroll trying to get something out of this. And they'll have to play it all the way back to the midfield now. They had a very quiet first half as this ball goes out of bounds for a goal kick. The Blue Streaks have had 4 shots, 1 from Peterzek and 1 from Merlot, 1 from Colowane, and 1 from Malinky. And that's it. And you want to see more for Peterzek and Rosado if you're John Carroll. A header here from English goes all the way into the corner, and it's run down and now cleared away by Cottrell. El Pelletier is still in the game for Capital. She replaced the injured Lexi Snyder, whose day is probably done from the looks of it when she came off the field. And obviously more out for Capital, so down 2 defenders trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead. And would like to see Capital generate some offense still. Avery Hart had a hat trick the first time these 2 teams faced off, if you recall, back in Cleveland. And she's been pretty quiet here in this one as well. She has 4 shots, but only 1 on goal. And a couple of those shots were not even close to being a goal or anything like that. Just some kind of volume shots kicked towards the net. But they've done an actual pretty good job on her as well. And the 2 big goal scorers, Peterzak and Hart, who came into this one with 24 combined goals in 34 games, haven't really been involved yet, which might be kind of a scary proposition for both of these sides, because whichever one of those 2 has the bigger second half might determine this game. John Carroll getting another chance in front of the net, and it's going to turn into a goal kick as Peterzak got it down in front of the net, and Ellie Malinky was in the area. John Carroll again on another counter. Monin trying to get it to Peterzak. They need to get Peterzak back under control. She's one of those players in this conference that can break a game open. And she's starting to get a lot more touches on the ball. And that is obviously something you want to deny. English with a header. Peterzak's going to run this one down. Cleared away. Ogden wants a handball, and we'll get the official to get the whistle there. In that 3-0 win for Capital earlier this season in University Heights, Capital had one goal. It was Avery Hart in the 12th minute of the first half. And then kind of some late ones, a 56th-minute goal and an 89th-minute goal from Hart to complete the hat trick. The shots in that game, much different story than tonight. Capital came out and really turned on the shot advantage early on. They finished with a 17-4 advantage at the end of the first half. It was 10-8 the first time these teams faced off. It was 11-5 Capital in the second half. So that kind of shot disparity that we saw in the first half was not anything like we saw in the first matchup between these two teams. And that might be something to keep an eye on, as John Carroll, as I mentioned, is starting to kind of even out at least possession and opportunities at the net. Those are going to start turning into more shots. You're going to see this number equal out a little bit more. You're going to see Capital probably have a 2-1 shot advantage in this game by the time things are said and done. But that's a lot different story than a 16-4 advantage, which is a 4-1 advantage on shots. And especially as this game gets later and later, you're going to see more and more desperation, which turns into effort. A shot blocked. Oh, a really good opportunity for the Blue Streaks. And Capital really fortunate there. Offsides was called as well. Two shots there that looked like they were both blocked. Good positioning by the defense, sure, but also these moments are getting more and more tense. Consul stays in net, by the way, for John Carroll. Thought we might see a change, maybe not, but at this stage of the season, you kind of have to write out your starter. And that's what John Carroll will do. Consul's been fine after the goal that she allowed, 3 saves, and the goal really wasn't her fault. Again, just too good of an opportunity for Leonetti on the corner kick. And she allows the goal as a result of that defense in front of her, kind of losing Leonetti. John Carroll has possession once again on Capital's end of the field. Wohleber played it forward for Peterzak. This ball stays in bounce on the near side of the field. And Estes will work between 3 defenders to get it to Woodruff. Nicely done. And there's some room up the top of your screen. Ogden trying to take advantage of that real estate. Moves it to the left to Logano. Logano cuts inside. Has Woodruff behind, has Leonetti behind. It goes to Sophia instead. Leo now looking for help, and she'll play it all the way back down to English. English fakes the play back to the keep, and now English continue to walk it forward, calling out direction, sends it into no man's land. Hart comes away with it. Hart turns to the left. She has a little bit of room, wiggles, turns to the left, and a shot that's saved. Kicking with the off foot, but good to see Avery Hart involved in the second half early. She takes a shot. Not a lot on it with the left foot, and it's fielded basically a ground ball save by Contul, and she's up to the challenge. 36-33 and counting for John Carroll to mount this comeback. They've been playing from behind since the 3rd minute of the game, and the desperation mode is starting to come out more and more and more as we get later into the game. We saw Capital play a similar style against Baldwin Wallace. They were chasing the entire second half, and they came through in the final 20 seconds. 1 goal for Cap, and this one feels real comfortable at 2-0, I think. But until we get to that point, this game very much up in the air. Ball kicked out of bounds here. John Carroll trying to keep possession away now from Capital on this end of the field. They get it across midfield again. I mean, they had trouble getting it across midfield just early in the game. Not even getting shots off. We mentioned the disparity there, but they weren't even getting possession on this end of the field. Now we're starting to see that even out as well. The shots are now 18-6, so it went from a 4-1 to 3-1 advantage for Capital there. And again, they're going to finish with more shots. That's not the question. The question is, will they get enough volume on net or enough of a quality shot to tie the game? Or will Capital get on the board again and probably put this thing away? Blue Streaks have possession in this end again. They're going to pass it down to the near side of the field. And having to sprint just to get a foot on it was Woolaber. And she just kind of sent it down into the corner, and Capital will kick it out of bounds. So possession stays with the Blue Streaks, and they will continue to try to chip away here. Throw-in goes to Peterzek. Played back to Woolaber again. And this time Capital gets possession as it goes out of bounds. As I said, I think whoever has the bigger half between Hart and Peterzek is going to decide the winner of this contest. So far, they both have been involved, but no one's really done much to threaten the goal. Peterzek had a touch in the box, and Hart had that left-footed shot that was saved on the other side by Consul, her fourth save of the game. Outside of that, it's been relatively quiet on both sides for the first 12 minutes for those two players at least. John Carroll had another opportunity that led to an offsides deep in the box. Markham has been good, and that's a nice move again, juking to the inside. And she gets it back after a blocked pass. Hart still in front of her. Markham trying to find some space, and Leonetti has all kinds of room behind her. Leonetti passes it in, and it comes right back out. And now John Carroll tried to poke it along, and English is there to collect for Cap. Markham to the right, trying to feed it through to Estes. Maybe a grab, but not called on Woolaber. And now a player goes down for the Blue Streaks. Starting to get a little bit more physical, as you'd expect here in the second half. Still scoreless between the Cardinals and the Blue Streaks. We're keeping an eye on that one as things progress here tonight. Peterzak passes it over to the left. Here's Malicki with it. And Ali Malicki looking for some help now. Sends it across. It misses pretty much everybody. Rosado was in the picture for the first time in a while. And that's going to be a throw-in for Capital. Rosado hasn't had a shot in this game. She was more involved earlier in this contest, but she's kind of disappeared as Peterzek has come onto the scene for the Blue Streaks. Cap working this thing out of their own zone. Maybe the field slanted down a little bit because it's been moving in this direction. cleared away again by English, but this time it hits Woodruff. And here comes the blue streak. Well, there go the blue streaks, and English plays it over to Markham. Markham just kind of dribbling it around. English has it. English plays it forward to Woodruff, and now it comes back to Pelletier again, or Markham, excuse me. Kicked out of bounds by English. Cleared away at midfield by Lungano coming back into play. Even the forwards are helping out defensively right now for Capital. The Blue Streaks continuing to possess and try to find a crack in the defense. And they kick it out of bounds. Unforced errors that they cannot afford at this stage of the game. Cap trying to get something going on a counter. Another spin move. I don't know if they, where these spin moves have been coming from. They've been using them a lot today. Haven't seen very many of them to this point this season, but a lot of go-to kind of spin move. Nothing really comes of that one. The one earlier from Woodruff was probably the best one so far. But we've seen a few try to bust out a spin move to open up something for the attack. John Carroll on a counter, and they get nothing here. Kind of hit a lull in this one. Cap tries to work it across midfield again here. Maybe something developing. Markham on the near side. Markham looking for help. She has two on her now. Tries to cut inside, and it's taken away by the Blue Streaks. Not enough numbers there in the box for Capital. Blue Streaks will make a substitution now. Coming into the game is Lizzie Wu. We saw her check in earlier. Kicked out of bounds by the Blue Streaks now as Capital starting to put some pressure on maybe. Woodruff working with Markham, and now Leonetti in the midfield, defended by Wu. Plays it all the way back. And just think of if Capital didn't get that goal in that third minute, if we've seen what we've seen in the last almost 60 minutes now. Crossed in. Could be looking at a game where it's still tied at 0-0 and desperation would be mounting on both sides. But the fact that Capital got that goal in the first 3 minutes, it's really allowed them to focus more defensively here. The Blue Streaks trying hard. Rosado shoots it wide. Two young players leading the way for the Blue Streaks. 22 goals between Rosado and Pederzak. And the two today have combined for now 2 shots. Cap trying to win possession on the free kick, but it's going to go to Peterzak and John Carroll, and Rosado to Peterzak there, but that one shot off the top of the foot, it looked like, from Peterzak, and thus it goes wide, not where she wanted to put it. 18-7 in shots. Heck of an effort there at midfield by Ogden to win possession for Cap. Markham playing it all the way up, and her shot goes wide, and she throws her head on her hands. And not what she wanted to do there either. A lot of missed kicks here. Be kicked upfield by Catherine Schaefer. That was actually Lungano, not Ogden, at midfield there. Lungano playing super defensively from a wing position. This is Lungano again playing it forward. Lungano's playing more in the midfield right now for Capital. She's playing as almost an attacking midfield in the spot of where Woodruff would normally be. Played all the way down. I believe Elliott checked in for Woodruff, potentially. I might have missed that. Yeah, Elliott did check in for Woodruff, and that's not a normal substitution. That was back before the first shot from Rosado about 3 minutes ago. Is checking in now as Merlot. Woodruff coming off. Again, that's a little concerning. She's standing on the sideline, so I think she's okay. Maybe just a decision to put Lungano in the midfield instead. We haven't seen her play much in that midfield position, so not sure what the deal is there, if we'll see Woodruff back or not. But Lizzie Elliott is in the game as a striker up on the top left wing. And Lungano is playing in the midfield now in the spot of Woodruff. Hopefully not another injury situation for Capital. They can't afford very many more of those. 22.5 minutes to play. We've officially hit the midway point of half number 2. It's still 1-0 Capital for now. This ball is going to be fielded by Malinky in the corner. Malinky crosses, no one home. And Merlot's going to have to try to run that thing down now. She has fresh legs, so she's able to do so. Chipped back in. Peterzak in the area, and White comes sliding into the screen to take it any shot potential away. Lungano in midfield. Plays it down to Estes, and it goes out of bounds. Markham wins the throw-in for Capital, and the Comets starting to get some momentum going their way here. Just as I say that, taken away. A nifty backheel pass, and now a clear gets hit by Leonetti off the body inadvertently. English now sends it upfield. Two more subs for John Carroll. Checking back in is their captain, Claire Hollern, and Bailey Brown as well. Both players we saw in the first half. Ohio Northern is now out shooting Otterbein 14-4. In the midfield, Ogden plays it back down. Cottrell sends it upfield. Not a bad ball towards Hart. Cleared away by John Carroll. Out of bounds, throwing coming for Cap. Final 20 minutes. Cap just kind of trying to play this thing out to the end of the game. This half, they have not generated the same kind of offense as they did in the first. They have only 3 shots. Hart trying to change that. Hart crosses. It's low. It hits off of a foot of a John Carroll player. Not a great clear. Lungano's shot is now blocked. And a great defense by Lizzie Wu. Cleared up field now for John Carroll. Paterzak trying to run it down on English. And English will clear, keep it alive off of Markham's leg. Oh, they're going to say it's off of John Carroll instead. So Cap may have caught a break there. Well, they called a whistle, that's why. It was off of Markham. They're going to call it a foul against John Carroll. Low line drive. Hits off of Wu, and then that ball goes right into Claire Hollern, who's okay. Control with the left foot of Leonetti. A nice move. English sends it forward. Hit off of the left leg of the defender, Schaefer. Elliott now may have gotten held up a little bit. The officials let it go. And John Carroll just kind of pops it away. Paterzak gets the first touch. She plays it back. Now a lob through. That's going to get knocked down by Ogden out of the air. Lungano controls. Lungano looking for help and plays it out wide. Markham has been very involved in this game. She sends it on to Elliott. Elliott again getting held, and she's fouled big time there. Borderline card. He's reaching, but he's not going to go to the back pocket. So a free kick for Capital. It's Avery Hart, and she might just put this on net. She's inside of 30 yards. See what Hart can do. Hart shoots it, and the save is made on the far post to the left of Hart. Save made by Contal, her 5th. 17:22 to play. John Carroll stays alive. Trying to find an equalizer to get us ready for overtime. Capital trying to either add one and put it away or just hang on to a 1-0 lead. Elliott had it knocked away. Ogden trying to help, and John Carroll has to kick it out of bounds. Nice moves here from Lungano from the midfield. She opens herself up for a cross. Tried to get it to Hart. Goes to the corner, and it's going to be a throw-in as opposed to a corner kick for Capital here. Cap not able to get anything towards the box there. It's going to go out of bounds for another throw-in. Throw-in goes short, and it's headed away by John Carroll. And now Lungano's going to have a steal. That's actually Ogden. Ogden with a full head of steam. A ball towards Hart. Too far out in front of Hart. And Paterzak's there to run it down. 15:40 to play. John Carroll running out of time. Ball's kicked across midfield, and a foul is called against Gina Merlot. 3 subs are getting ready to come on for John Carroll, and they're getting coached up right now by head coach Michael Marich. And he's kind of just has them in a huddle together, and he may have seen something that he likes in the back line of this Capital defense. He's trying to make an adjustment on the fly here in the final 15 minutes. We'll see if it works. Pelletier will throw in for Cap. On to the foot of Lungano. Ogden now. There's more room on this end. Markham trying to get really wide here down on the bottom of your screen. English sent it that direction. It gets ricocheted out. Paterzak has it, and now Paterzak puts it on the left foot and puts it ahead of Malinky. Malinky trying to win a foot race, crosses fields, and cleared away by Pelletier. Over the head of Wu, off the shoulder of Estes. Back to Wu now, and Wu with a ball now, line drived it right at the right wing there. That was Bailey Brown who's able to knock it down, and Lungano comes away with it for Capital. Leonetti restarting play, 14:15 to play, and the ball is kicked out of bounds off of John Carroll. Leonetti and Markham restart the attack for Capital, if you want to call it an attack. And ball's headed in a few times. John Carroll gets the last touch and sends it upfield again. English off the back of Lungano. Creatively gets it up the field. Some headers, and now a strong right foot kind of crazy swing kick upfield. And John Carroll will control for now. Here's Paterzak at the edge of the box. Trying to squeak through 2 there. Cap careful not to trip her up in the box. Moliber has it for John Carroll. Gets it to the open man, Malinky. And Malinky turned upfield with a kick intended for Hollern. White will collect it and wait for a John Carroll player to get close and now pick it up. Gearing up for another push. Here come the Blue Streaks. Controlled by Leonetti. And sent back upfield by John Carroll, who's still waiting to make their substitutions. I don't know how that wasn't a handball on either side there. And maybe they just say play on as that ball was kind of bouncing between 2 bodies there. And then Leonetti played upfield. Woodruff, by the way, is getting ready to come back in for John Carroll. So just a tactical substitution maybe by getting Woodruff in there. So the 3 subs come on for John Carroll, as we mentioned. Abby Smith goes to the top of the formation here. Paterzak's there with her. Right behind her is Monin and Rosado. Those are the 4 big scorers for the John Carroll side. And they have them all at the top right now. Some other subs made in the midfield. As those 3 were all on the bench and came in just now with Brown, Merlot, and Hollern come out. So Paterzak gets her 3 main scorers with her with fresh legs, and let's see if the Blue Streaks can use those adjustments that they were just given there and turn things around. Ball's going to go out of bounds. It's going to be a throw-in for John Carroll. So Lizzie Wu checks out in the midfield now. Woodruff, by the way, checked in for the Comets. As we mentioned, Woodruff checked in for Estes, which put Lungano back to the top on the wing. Lungano's going to steal some water during this goal kick. She came running down to the bench. Line drive goes all the way through to Hart. 10-12 to play. Woodruff is actually on the wing now for Cap. Woodruff dribbles it into the box, looking for some help, working one-on-one. Woodruff now moves to her left, sends it left-footed towards the net, and it goes wide. Cap gets a steal with Lungano this time. Lungano! No whistle? Oh, man. Lungano had a full head of steam headed towards the net, gets some contact and goes down in the box, and the officials keep the whistle down, and that might have put it away. And I don't know. Coach Ogden not too upset, trying to keep even keel. We'll try to mimic that up here, but that probably could have been called. $8:50 to play. Excellent play by Francesca Lungano there. She's had a strong game, especially here in the second half. This is Lungano again, playing with Woodruff. So it's really interesting that Woodruff has moved up to a forward position, with Lungano moving down into the midfield. Woodruff rested up, came into the game, and as she's come in, she's already taken 2 shots now, has moved to the right striker position on the wing of Hart. And now she drops back as to more of a midfielder. Just really strange that they make that kind of substitution, moving Lungano into the midfield. Maybe that's something they've been working on, but we haven't seen it this year really at all. It's been kind of Woodruff in that attacking midfield role and Lungano on the wing, but they've switched spots here in the second half. Tough to say whether that's an offensive move or a defensive change. Woodruff's good at both. Lungano has been really good in the midfield, so far it's kind of paid off. Just kind of an interesting switch. Crossed in by the Blue Streaks, and that's way off target. Goes right of the net. 23-9 in terms of shots right now. Closer to that 2-1 that I kind of opined would be the final margin between the shots. But more importantly, 7 minutes left, and we're still holding on to a 1-0 lead that we've been holding on to since the 3rd minute of the game. 83 minutes down, 7 to go, standing between Cap and their first appearance in the OAC title, in the OAC final since 2017, when they defeated the same John Carroll team to advance to the OAC final, which they ended up losing to Ohio Northern, and that might be who awaits at the end of the night, as they're still tied 0-0 with Otterbein. Capital trying to erase 4 straight semifinal losses in the OAC tournament. Would give Coach Ogden his 3rd win in the semis to advance to his 3rd OAC final. He's currently 1-1 in the final, winning in 2015, losing in 2017. Here come the Blue Streaks, though, to try to change it. Petterzek with the left-footed shot, and she shot it right at the keeper, White. I think Cap might have caught a break there. If that shot had any kind of direction on it towards the left side of the shooter there to the right of White, there was some space for Petterzek to sneak it through, but kicking with the off foot, the aim was off, and she kicked it right at Lauren White, who was there to make the save. If it's ONU, Capital defeated ONU back in 2015 to advance to the OAC title, or advance to the NCAA tournament, I should say. But since that game, they've lost 3 straight to ONU in the tournament. Coach Ogden, if it's Otterbein, he's never beaten Otterbein in the OAC tournament. Lost in the semis in 2019 and 2018, 2-1 and 1-0 respectively. So either way, it's going to be a big matchup, and obviously with a spot to the NCAA tournament on the line, it's going to be a tough fight no matter who it is that emerges from the Otterbein and Ohio Northern contest over in Ada, Ohio. They have 10 minutes left. It's tied there 0-0. And Capital is 4 minutes and 40 seconds away from punching their ticket to the same spot on Saturday night in the OAC tournament final against, again, either Ohio Northern or Otterbein. That looked like a handball, not called. The Blue Streaks have battled hard in this one. It looked like Capital was going to come in and just run away with this thing. Woodruff trying to put it away. She does! That is Lizzie Elliott, the freshman with the biggest goal of her career. And that will put it away. So Elliott comes on as a substitute for Cap late in the second half. And they put Woodruff on the bench and put Lungano in the midfield, and it worked. Lizzie Elliott comes away with the ball and moves it into the box.
Number 14, Lizzie Elliott.
And the freshman puts it away with 4 minutes left. A goal in the 86th minute. This ball game's over, folks. Woodruff setting it up again, as she's been involved many times here. And Lizzie Elliott comes away with the ball after some play in the midfield there and just kind of drives it in from about 30 yards out, gets closer, and puts it behind Contal to finish it off with the goal in the top left corner there from Elliott's position. Elliott's perspective, I should say. And goal number 2 comes on shot number 24 from the Comets, who we're going to be moving on to the OAC tournament final now as the final 3:24 tick off. I'm not superstitious. I don't see a jinx here. And Elliott, who played 44 minutes in this game, again, came on as a sub, and it was kind of interesting to see Woodruff on the right side, striker, Lungano dropping in the midfield, and Elliott was kind of the player that they wanted out there, I guess, on the left wing. And it worked, and now Elliott has another chance. Another good ball delivered by English this time. Elliott drives into the box. Elliott has Hart to her right, passes to Hart, and the pass is knocked down before Hart can get a shot off. It was almost 2 in the span of less than 2 minutes there from Lizzie Elliott. John Carroll still fighting hard here. Lizzie Elliott scored once in her 14 regular season contests for the Comets. And again, the biggest goal of her career here is it takes a lot of pressure off in the last few minutes. And Capital is just trying to salt away the final few minutes now. 2 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact. Rosado trying to get it on net. Lungano kicks it out of bounds. Another ball drilled through to White, and she'll sit on top of it for a second here. 1 minute, 40 seconds. Lauren White made 2 saves in this game, both off the foot of the OAC's leading goal scorer, Paterzek. And with those 2 saves, she is in line for a shutout here in the final 80 seconds. And quite a performance from White, who might get tested again here and takes it off the foot of Peterzek. Malinky in the area as well. And I nearly jinxed it there as White, if she didn't get on top of that, it was pretty much an easy shot and goal there from Malinky. On the left side of the attack there from John Carroll. Ball bounces through here. Collected by Lungano. Hart's calling for it. Hart for an exclamation point. Goes down. It's blocked. They'll say it's clean. Hart trying to find some space. Drops it back. Pass back to Hart. Hart with the left foot. It's in the net! There's an exclamation point for you. With the left foot, it curls into the top left corner again, and Avery Hart fittingly puts Capital back up 3-0, her 12th of the season. And how about that? What poise there by Avery Hart as she was tackled, I guess. Ogden gets the assist, and Hart was kind of getting attacked there in the box and may have gotten fouled, may have been blocked, whatever it was there. She collected herself, played it back to Ogden, and just a smart play by Ogden to just send it right back where it came from. And she said, no, this is you, Avery. You've got this. And Hart recollects, puts it on the left foot, curls it into the top corner. And a hard-fought game by John Carroll. It was 1-0 for a good portion of this contest. And it finishes with the same score that we saw in University Heights, Ohio earlier this season on October 22nd. Another 3-0 win for the Comets over the Blue Streaks. So the stage is set. Saturday night or Saturday, it might be an afternoon, it might be a night game. You'll have to check the website and social media for the official scheduling there. But it'll be either Otterbein or Ohio Northern here on Saturday. And we might be playing in the afternoon, we might be playing at night. The only thing that's for certain is Capital will be here, and they'll be hosting, and they'll be 90 minutes away from a berth to the NCAA title, which would be their first since the 2015 season. Congrats to Coach Ogden and his team as they advance to his third OAC final in 8 years here as the head coach of the Comets. And again, his first since 2017, so I'm sure this one feels sweet for him. Goal scorers today against Sophia Leonetti on a corner kick, Lizzie Elliott, and then Avery Hart with the insurance goal and the exclamation point of this one to put Capital into the OAC final. So we'll see you Saturday. We hope you join us here either in person or on the broadcast, and we will see if Capital can advance to the NCAA title. They're going to have to grind out a win versus a really good team, neither the Cardinals or Polar Bears. You can check out the live stats of that one on Ohio Northern's website, onusports.com. I'll direct you there. We'll await the winner here from Bernlohr on Saturday. Jimmy Bloomfield again with you, signing off. A 3-0 win for the Comets, and we will see you on Saturday.